Episode 81. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? Let's talk about Neo Before Zod, Ultimate Black Panther, and Pine and Merrimack right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming and spending some time with me as I rant about comics and movies and television shows and board games. So we're going to jump into 3 issues today. Some exciting stuff, but let me show you guys what I just got in the mail today. For if you're a Star Wars fan, we do have a Padme Amidala with a face that's pretty close to Natalie Portman. I think that looks pretty good. So just released. So if you're a fan of Star Wars, you might want to jump in on that. I don't know how many more they have left. But yeah, on top of that, I am your host, Frank Zanca. I am an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And if you want to check out anything that I've written, of course, you could also check me out on Amazon. Just type my name, Frank Zanca, in there. You'll see all the stuff that I've written in the past. And if you want anything signed, we are in the middle of late pledge for Lords of L.A., which was my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood. The description below has the link in it to fund my comics. So lots of fun stuff in there, but we'll talk about more at the end. But in the meantime, let's jump into some comics. So let's talk about Neo Before Zod. This is issue 3 out of 12. And in the last few issues, so we'll play catch up here, we had Zod and Ursa, who have created a new Kandor. Somehow they have the bottled Kandor as well, which I doubt that Superman would ever give up, so I do have a problem with it there. Even if they stole it, Superman would look for it no matter what. So there's that. And then they exiled their own son, and don't really care what happened to him at this point, which I also find very strange. At least if they had put some kind of a tracker on him or something like that, where they know exactly where he is, well, that would make more sense. But just to throw him out was weird. I know he was kind of a dick and all, but come on, he is your son. So anyway, we have the Kuns that are now attacking this new Kandor, and Ursa's like, come on, you pussy, get up there and fight. Basically, in the last issue, that's what she was, and everybody was like, oh, we're going into the girl boss thing, but we'll get into that in a second. But we do have, the Kuns attacking, and they're like, yes, we will attack. This is an underdeveloped world. We should have no problem taking on all of these people. And so it says, war for New Kandor. Bum-ba-dum. And we have fighting, and Ursa gets pretty nasty in here. I'm not really a fan of this art. It almost looks out of proportion. Like, look at her arm there. But she rips off people's heads. She throws the heads at people. So yeah, we have basically super beings just decapitating at will. And he's got his heat vision going. So this thing's all one big battle for the most part. And of course they're pissing the Kuns off like, I don't know what's going on. And then we have that scene in the middle there where he basically goes through 4 different ships. And Captain Marvel did that. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know how strong you'd be to go through the hulls of 4 different ships. What do we do? Do we retreat? I don't know. Huge boulders knocking people off. And this guy kind of looks like a guy from Star Trek, right? So he's kind of was it Star Trek 5? Maybe. I don't know, something like that. So, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm pissed off. Oh, I don't want to retreat. But then they fire at one of the suns, and they turn the sun from yellow to red, which takes away their powers. But I don't think that would happen immediately because there's still that other sun there. So I kind of don't think that their powers would be like. Look at the foreshortening of that arm. Oh my God, that thing looks like it's a mile long. So again, not a fan of this art. So anyway, whether I think that it would come off that quickly as far as their powers are concerned, or what happens, it does happen immediately. So Zod is getting his ass kicked, but then it starts to wear off. So they fire those missiles out, so he gets blowed up. Don't blow me up. But the sun changes back just at the right time, so he's able to regain his powers enough to escape the missiles. And he goes after Ursa. And when he finds Ursa, she not blowed up, but she is stabbed just a bunch of times. Looks like she wiped the other guys out too, but she looked pretty stabbed. So is she dead? Don't know. Don't know is she dead or not, but it looked pretty dead. Bones, can you come over here? And she's dead, Jim. I don't even need a tricorder reading for this. Anyway, you can't kill off Ursa, so I don't think she's really dead. But I guess we'll see. It could be a twist. I don't know. But yeah, this issue was actually pretty decent. I like the whole battle. I like them getting a little bit kind of gory with it, because that's what something that Zod and Ursa would definitely do. I am wondering about them checking on their son eventually. But I guess we'll see, because this is actually a very long story. This is 3 out of 12. So I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go, especially if they kill off Ursa in issue 3. I don't know. They got rid of the sun in issue 1. Got rid of Ursa in issue 3. What's left? All right, so let's jump into Black Panther. So this is Ultimate Black Panther, so this is a little bit different, because in here, Moon Knight, which is, I guess, a combination of Ra and Khonshu, have killed T'Challa's dad. And he was already Black Panther. I'm not sure I really like the mouth being open. One of the things I really loved about the Black Panther costume, that it was, completely closed up. Because he does have the ears and stuff like that, which, makes it look cool like Batman. But he is married to Okoye. But anyway, the artwork is really nice in here. And so, we're seeing them basically in the bedroom, and, he's reeling from the fact that his father was killed. So at least we're seeing some internal conflict, which a lot of times we don't see when your characters get killed. So he is questioning a lot of his own incumbents there, his own residents of Wakanda, to find out if he knows that there is a leak inside that helped get through security and stuff like that. So he's questioning people to see where the mole is. Meanwhile, he's going to go to see the seers or whatever of Wakanda, and she tells him, Okoye tells him, don't rely on that. Don't believe a word they say, blah, blah, blah. And she's been saying that for 2 issues now. But he goes anyway. And it's kind of important about what they actually say, because they tell him that a glowing woman is going to give him an heir. And he's like, Okoye's going to give me an heir? And they're like, does Okoye glow? And I like the look of it, where the eyes are covered with the eye in the cloth. I kind of like that. So it's an interesting setup, and I really like this so far. Now, if I was the editor on that picture, they kind of look like Intergang a little bit, I think. But anyway, so those are the Moon Knight guys. And look at the guy in the middle there. He's got a spear coming out of him from the wrong side. And if you look at every other of the Gore Malage there, they all have their spears. So how did he get a spear through him in the wrong direction? It should have gone forward if he was coming from off screen. So that was kind of strange. That was a mistake, I think. So anyway, the Panther mobile, the Panther tank, lands and just, I guess there's no Dormilage there to get hit. It's just them, which I find strange because they were just in the middle of a battle. So anyway, he walks out and does a pose, and they're like, "Oh, my king! Oh, my king!" And we should have had a little bit of diversity in here. I know that like Wakanda's all black, but Ra and Khonshu are Egyptian, so we should have at least make them Egyptian. Why are they black? I don't know, strange. So yes, every character in here is black. I would like a little bit more diversity. So their spies walk in. That's Shiri right there in the purple. But their spies walk in and they say, "Oh, we got a lead." And they're like, "Really? What?" They have not been masking their power. So they're using large amounts of power, and they narrowed it down to a part of Africa. And he's like, "All right, I'm going to go alone." And they're like, no, you can't go alone. And he's like, "Yep, I'm going alone." All right. So Shuri is tracking him and communicating with him, but then she loses his signal. So he gets shot down, and he, leaps out of the crashing plane, or whatever you want to call it, the hovercraft, or whatever you want to call it. And he's met with an ambush, who just continually, and this, again, that's why I think the mouth should be covered. But anyway, he shot the shit right there to the point where he's on his knees. He must have a million broken bones at this point because, yeah, it absorbs some of the impact, but I think it's like a bulletproof vest almost thing. Like he does feel some of it. Obviously, he feels something, or else he wouldn't have been on his knees the whole time. So, yeah, and all of a sudden, a lightning bolt comes down and kills everybody except for him. And he gets the helmet, comes off, and he looks up, and he sees the glowing woman, which is Storm. And I really wish they had left Storm with her. I don't know why they're changing the look of these characters. Changing the costume is one thing, but I miss her flowing white hair. Why she doesn't have flowing white hair? I'm disappointed by that. Because even if it's in a different universe, she would still look the same, right? But overall, this is really good. Aside from my little nitpicks, I think it's really good. I like where it's going. But Storm in this issue or in this book is with Killmonger, but I didn't see him in this one, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, it's I love the little mystery of what's going on. I love the Moon Knight basically broken into Ra and Khonshu, and they're like a group rather than a person. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, let's move on. Would it make a good film? I personally didn't even see the last Wakanda movie because they screwed with Namor too much. I'd love to see another, good Black Panther movie that was done well and had a good villain and all that stuff that actually has Black Panther in it, maybe. All right, so moving on to Pine and Merrimack. So this is issue 3. I think there's only 5 or 6 issues. So this is about a married couple. She used to be a police detective, and she left the force to start her own detective agency. Her husband was like a wrestler and started it with her, so he's like the muscle for her. And usually they don't take on anything that has to do with murder because she gets very triggered. So they decided to take this one thing on about this missing girl. They find an island where people are being sold, women are getting sold, okay? So, that's the whole Jeffrey thing that is going on. So it's got a little bit of today's politics to it, or today's newsreels to it. So anyway, they find like it's a cult going on, and they stole a couple of robes, and now we're in this issue. So we get this really long flashback of her being a police detective and not be able to hold her lunch during a crime scene. Okay, so she has a big problem with this. Her name is Lene, I think. But yeah, so she investigated, but she's good at what she does. But even the police chief says, "Yeah, you got to be able to hold your lunch to do this job, and if you can't hold your lunch, then you probably need to go." And she goes see a psychiatrist, and she's like, "Yeah, it's nothing physical. It's just something going on with you." She tells him that this is the part that's really good, is the fact that they have this relationship where he just supports her no matter what. He's like, yeah, I'll just leave my job and we'll just go somewhere and get out of here and start a detective agency. Not many men would say that, but yeah, let's just unless they're rich, but yeah, let's willy-nilly just pick up and move and quit our jobs and start our own business. Okay. But apparently it works out for them. So they're on he's like, oh, I'll never be bored, and then they, switch to this. He's like, I'm bored. She's like, this is what police detecting is. We have to run takeout. You have to stay on stakeouts for a while, etc. So anyway, there's, I guess she's been in this building before, but they track down, some of the cult thing to this particular, I guess, hotel or whatever, but she'd been in there before, and now we get another flashback of her entering this building because she was searching for something and the door wasn't locked. So she walks in and she looks at the door and she ends up seeing a whole furry convention thing. Not really a convention, it's more like an orgy. So it's like a furry orgy. I don't get it, man. So she walks out and then there's literally a note on the door, last one must lock the door. But whoever it is didn't lock it. And apparently didn't lock it this time either because they just walk in. But they're wearing the cult costumes, which obviously are very generic costumes for cultists. And the two guys that they had battled on the island are there. And they're just like talking about the fact that only 2 costumes were stolen. And they're like, you guys are late, so get in there. They don't try to question them. Nothing. So they walk into this eyes wide shut type of thing going on, which is how I feel about this whole issue. They look like a whole bunch of gnomes. A whole bunch of lawn gnomes just hanging out. But I guess that there's a sacrifice coming, so this guy gets wheeled in, and he looks all decrepit. And our pleasure. So anyway, the girl comes in that they're going to sacrifice, and of course they can't let that happen. So he pulls the fire alarm. And I'm not sure if a fire alarm sends off the sprinkler system, but here it does. I don't know. Usually you have to put a flame up to it to do that, to crack the mercury or whatever is up there. But anyway, so the whole thing pours down on them, and they're like, oh my God, it's raining on us! Oh no! But anyway, they don't save the woman because she gets killed anyway. The guy stabs her anyway. And so, yeah, they did it basically for nothing. And then they're like, we have people in here that shouldn't be in here, interlopers! And that's where it ends. So yeah, I like it. I don't know where it's going. Right now, it's very eyes wide shut. I wish they'd, make it just a little. What's pushing the thing is the characters. The characters are pushing this along. Otherwise, it's very bland story. But let's see if they latch onto something new in this thing, rather than the cliches that they're doing right now. They're just hopping around cliches. Will it make a good film or television show? Yeah, even with the cliches, it's fun. Black Panther? Yeah, I would love to see Storm in a Black Panther movie. So I like that. I was wondering why that Okoye was on, was married to him, but now I see that they're gonna make a love triangle out of it. It's pretty interesting. I like what's going on there. And Before Zod, I don't think you can make a Zod movie without Superman in it. But, maybe a TV show if they wanted to go dark with it. I don't know. It would be odd to do but then again, they've done so many weird things with Superman, and I think they made a Kryptonian show or whatever else, but I think it would be odd without having the hero in it. But anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending time with me. I greatly appreciate you watching all the way through. And yeah, check out some other videos as well. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. If you're not subscribed yet, why the hell not? It's free. Just ring that bell. Give me the thumbs up. All that stuff really helps with the algorithms. And yeah, so check out Lords of LA and the link in the description below if you can give anything to that. Obviously I do sign them. There's also digital copies. We just launched that, so probably is at zero right now. But we were already funded through Kickstarter, so don't think that even if you only give $1 or whatever it may be, $3-4, that you're not going to get it. You still are, because we've already been funded. So this is just extra money to finish up my last few pages. All right, so again, thank you guys again. And also, Mark Spears and I are working on our... Mark Spears is a cover artist for... He's done stuff for Spawn. He's done stuff for Power Rangers. He's done Vampirella. Anyway, he has a whole thing of classic monsters. So we're doing a classic monsters card game. I just got back from Gamma. We're play testing it. So we're going to launch that in a couple of months. So yeah, I'm just waiting for China to finish up the samples for me so I can get some reviews going, and then I'm going to launch. All right, so thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in episode 82. All right, talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.